Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Money Matters. I am your host, Hung Lu, and it is June the 1st. I can't believe I'm saying that already. It is June the 1st. So, we are going to get into a really interesting topic today about whether or not you should pay off your debt or invest. Now, before I do that, I want to share an island tour that is happening. So if you happen to be in Vancouver on the island at the beginning of July, come and join me for a bunch of these real estate property tours. Okay, this is a collaboration with a bunch of investors. Now, we're not selling any of these properties. We're actually just sharing some of the ideas that we're doing on these properties. So this is the island tour here. So I will put this into the chat and the link to register. It's a free tour. I'm going to be on the island touring some of my properties anyways. And so I just thought it would be great to meet a bunch of other investors and get that tour going. So if you happen to be on the island, come and join me, connect. All right. If not, that's all right too. All right. So let me stop sharing. So for today's episode, we are going to be talking about the concept of should you pay off your debt or should you invest? Now, I am a big believer that it does not have to be one or the other. It's not like 100% pay off debt or 100% of your cash should go into investments. There's actually a couple of good reasons why a balanced approach makes sense. I've got five that I'm going to, mention right off the bat, but I want to start off with this idea here. If I was to okay, hold on. Imagine if you were a farmer and you had 100 bags of seed to plant. In addition to the 100 bags of seeds that you also have 500K in debt. Okay. Now you could sell all your bags of seeds and pay off your debt 100%, or you could do a hybrid and just do plant a few of the seeds and then pay off some of your debts. Okay. And the idea behind that is that if you take all of your bags of seeds and you pay off your debt, then you don't have any seeds for the next season. Then where are you going to start from? Okay. Whereas if you take a percentage of your seeds, go pay off some debt, but then you take some of your other percentage of your seeds and you actually plant them, and then you'll have a crop for next year. Okay. So that's an idea to think about. Okay, so the reason why, having a balanced approach between paying off your debts and doing some investments, like I said, I don't believe in paying off 100% of your debt as much as possible, as fast as you can, because one, you don't need to do 0 or 100%. Like it doesn't need to be one or the other. It can be a split, okay? I'm recommending like a 60-40 split, 70-30 split. That split is entirely up to you. Okay. So the higher the number, the higher number goes towards the debt payment and the smaller number goes towards your investment. So for example, let's just say you have 70%. 70% goes to the investment and 30% goes to, no, sorry, 70% goes to paying off the debts. And the other 30, the remainder goes towards putting it into an investment. Okay. And so the reason why I encourage to take some percentage and to pay off your debt is because when you pay off your debt, that is actually a guaranteed return. So for example, let's just say you're carrying like 20K or 40K in credit card debts. Okay. That is not uncommon in today's economy. Okay. If you're carrying 20 or 40K of credit card debts, those are being charged back at you. Like you're paying 20% interest, 25% interest, depending on what type of charges those are. So if you take your money to pay off your credit card debt, you're guaranteed to make 20 to 25% return on your money. Okay, just think about that. Just by paying down your debt, you're guaranteed to make that much. An average person doesn't even know how to make 10% or 12%. Okay. So yes, I understand you're in debt because you have bad spending habits. But if you just take that, like your new cash, and you try to make 10, 20%, even like 15%, a lot of individuals don't know how to do that. Okay. So if you are carrying a high credit card debt, pay that off with the 60 or 70% cash that we're talking about that you have from your salary, because that debt down payment is actually an investment because the money that you're saving from the interest charges is like an investment. Okay, so that's the second way to a second thing to think about. The third thing is that rich people have debt. Okay, when I got my second property in my early 20s, I was like, oh crap, how am I ever going to be mortgage free here? Because my first property, I was like, okay, Hong, pay this down aggressively, like figure out how to be mortgage free in under 10 years, right? Which is what I coach. But then when I got my second property, I realized that I'm never really going to be mortgage free. And it actually makes sense not to be mortgage free because I want to buy my next property and my next property and my next property. So the thing to keep in mind is that rich people leverage cash in investments. And the thing to ask yourself is your debt, right? So if you go and you buy an investment property, that's a debt. Is that debt making money for you? If it's making money for you, it's actually good debt. Okay. And that's debt that you want. Okay. Because there's other ways to pay it off a lot faster with that cash that you're creating. Okay. So the other thing too is that when you look at, do I pay off debt or do I put in an investment? The thing that a lot of people don't think about is the opportunity costs. Because the thing is, when you make an investment, there's compounding time. Like there's years and years that your money's going to sit in an investment. And the longer it sits, the compounding effect is massive. Okay. So yes, you can go and pay off your debts, like your mortgage, your primary property mortgage, or you can invest it. Okay. And so that's a real personal choice there because some people want that comfort of having their mortgage completely free so that they know for sure that that home is theirs. Okay. So one of the ways, like one of the questions that you can ask yourself to decide, hey, you know what, is it better for me to pay off my debt or is it better for me to put it into an investment? Is to say, hey, you know what is the best use of this chunk of money that I have? Like, what's the best use of my next set of, 50,000? Okay. And then make a decision based on that. It doesn't always need to be, hey, you know what, I'm just going to focus on paying off my debt for the next 5 years or the next 10 years, because there's some issues that I have with that. Okay. And the biggest issue that I have with just putting all your money into paying down your debt, and let's just say it takes you 5 years or 10 years, okay? Like it doesn't really matter the duration, is that the 5 or 10 years that it takes you to pay off your debt, you're focused on paying off your debt. That's fine. But then you lose the years of getting investing experience, the skills that go into making an investment work. Okay. And some of those skills include like just understanding the market, understanding the real estate, stocks. Okay. The financial literacy, the emotional control. Okay. Because there's ups and downs with real estate or stocks or businesses. And the sooner you get into an investment, the sooner you have to learn how to manage those emotions, okay, which is crazy. Okay. But the biggest thing about starting the investment journey early is that you build the habit of making investments. Okay. That is so underrated, that habit of doing that, 1% to 10% of every single paycheck, that automatic paying yourself thing. That is so super important. Okay. So that is what I have for you today. Oh, and I do want to mention, thank you for watching these episodes because they do make you smarter, I hope. And you will have some financial literacy gains from this. And at the end of the day, you'll give it back to the family and the community. So I want to reach out to some of my fellow supporters who sent me their comments saying, hey, Hung, you know what? Thanks to your videos, I'm focusing on paying down my debt. And that's why I'm doing this video, because that isn't 100% of the message that I'm sending out there. Like yes, pay down your debts, but it needs to be that balanced approach. Okay. And it doesn't need to be a 50-50 split. Like, figure out what works for you. Okay. It could be 70-30, it could be 60-40. Okay. But you do want to have a little portion going to investments starting tomorrow if you can. Okay. My name is Hung Lu. Thank you for watching another episode of Money Matters. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Bye bye.